was getting ready to start without my fake air horn. What's up, good people? Trenton Davis on another episode 14 of Father's Day podcast. And you will look beside me and see I have a very beautiful woman beside me, and she's probably not a father. Let's give it up for Natasha Pearl Hansen. What's going on?
Definitely not a dad. Hi. Thanks for having me, Trenton.
Okay, so people, I know it's called Father's Day, and I've had a woman on before, and I wanted to have another one because it's a very special friend of mine, very good friend of mine. Natasha, how long have we known each other? Has it been a decade yet?
Oh my gosh, it has to at least have been 6 or 7 years.
At least
seven.
It's at least 7.
Because we met before I moved to Los Angeles. I moved here almost 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
7 or 8.
We're gonna say 7. Lucky number 7.
7 plus.
I'm gonna do this early because I don't want to just wait till the end. So this is Natasha Pearl Hansen. She's a comedian. She's an actress. She writes. She's phenomenal. Natasha, can you please tell the people where they can follow you, just in case they're assholes and don't listen to the whole episode?
I'm at NPH Comedy. NPH, my initials, Natasha Pearl Hansen, not miles per hour. Also not Neil Patrick Harris. People confuse the two all the time. They're like, I can't find you on NPH Comedy. I'm like, it's my initials. Like, why would I have it be miles per hour comedy?
That's a whole nother conversation.
I know, right?
We're talking
like,
about miles.
That's dirty. But yeah, so that's on all social media.
All right, so make sure you follow Natasha. She's hilarious. I'm at Trenton Comedy. The comedy podcast is Father's Day. It's on Comedy Pop-Up. So make sure you follow the Comedy Pop-Up Network. It's 10 different podcasts on the network now, all different, all very, very, very funny, very talented individuals. So make sure you follow the entire network. And let's get going. So Natasha, this is the deal, man.
Yeah.
Natasha is getting married, people. She's getting married in...
I did it, guys. I made it.
When are you getting married? In July?
In July.
Okay, and so it's going to be in Wisconsin.
We got some shit to talk about. It's going to be so fun.
Oh, should we talk about something else and then
No.
Let's
Totally. Let's go into it.
Okay.
Yeah, in Wisconsin.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know who out there is engaged, but I hate being engaged. I think it's the worst.
Really?
Yeah, the process of like hoarding. Like my friends are all so awesome, and luckily, all my pockets of friends all over the country get along really well.
Okay.
But the process of like picking your favorite people and then making their schedule, like I'm very friend oriented.
Yes.
Because I have no siblings, so my friends are my like sisters.
Okay. All right.
So getting everybody to okay a date, I gave them like 5 dates that were available for our wedding.
Yes.
And nobody matched schedules. Like
really?
All my friends travel all the time.
Yeah, I get it. You know what you got to do? I'm serious about this. And it's maybe too late now.
Just say fuck them and plan a day.
Yes, really. But the way you do say fuck them without saying fuck them, have a destination wedding.
Well, that's what we were originally going to do.
Yeah.
So this was the process kind of broken down just for people out there that have wedding planning coming up.
Don't do it.
I'm a tomboy, and I don't really, I like weddings because I drink at them. Like I drink and I dance, and like that's what's fun.
Right.
So when I was thinking about a wedding, I was like, well, I'm not going to spend a ridiculous amount of money. It's a party where all your favorite people are getting drunk
It's an adult prom. Can you just acknowledge a wedding is an adult prom?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I know my friends. I'm born and raised in Wisconsin, the land of drinkers and bad eaters. And I know what happens when we all get drunk together.
Okay.
So I was like, wherever I pick, it has to be like a space where we all are in for the weekend.
Yes.
Walkable.
Yes.
Because if there's got to be commuting,
it's going to be a problem.
Somebody's going to get lost somewhere. It's happened to us multiple times at weddings. I've been either in the bridal party or like a guest at the wedding and been stranded somewhere. And a
couldn't
school
get to the wedding.
No, we couldn't leave the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Like this last summer, my friend got married in like on a farmland, and the school bus left without like 45 people from the wedding afterwards.
Really?
So we were stranded in a cornfield for like an hour and a half. Luckily, we had like a couple cases of beer, and there was a basketball hoop that was like 8 feet high, so we could all kind of dunk on it.
Right.
So like we were super entertained, but we were super stuck.
Oh my God.
For a long time.
So that's what you want to do, but you want to have it at a place where they're self-contained, where they don't. Okay, I think that's great.
So one of my best friends 2 years ago, she, we all kind of we all kind of have the same mentality, and so she had picked this like ranch in Montana.
Okay.
And it was like we all stayed in this giant log cabin, and then there was like I keep wanting to call it an outhouse, but that's where you pee. So that's not what it is. It was like a house that's outside.
Okay.
Whatever you would call that.
Right.
With like bunks and stuff. So that's where like the boys all stayed.
Also like a cabin. It was cabins.
Yeah, cabins, but there was like a better cabin and then like the outhousey cabin.
Okay.
But like really, it was still cool. And then there was area for people to camp or bring their campers.
This is
and it was
100%
all
some white people
on
shit.
the property the entire weekend.
I'm just saying. if I invited black people and I was like, hey guys, you got to camp,
Well,
I would have 7 people at my wedding.
Exactly. Well, and half my family's black, which is why I couldn't emulate that.
That's so
Remember?
true. Yes, yes.
If you guys
Don't know, tell them.
my mom is black, my dad is white. My mom is black and Dominican, and my dad is white. So
Pew, pew, pew.
Pew, pew, pew. So anyway, so I was like, everything needs to be contained.
Right.
Like, I know my people. Somebody's gonna end up falling asleep outside. Might be me. Like, let's try to save some lives here.
Right.
So originally we were going to do destination, but Zika was happening, and a couple people were freaking out about that.
Really?
And then people with kids were like, well, what are we going to, because I was like, no kids at the wedding,
Yeah.
Zero.
Zero.
And
Thank you.
yeah, and they were like, what are we going to do with our kids? So
Drop that fucker off.
Right? So needless to say,
Right.
we ended up picking Madison, Wisconsin, because it was like local for a lot of the people in the Midwest that have kids.
Yep.
And most of our friends that live on the coast don't have kids yet.
Okay.
So they could fly in without any issue.
There we go. Madison
So-
is a little bit tough to fly into.
It
right?
is.
Because you have to fly into either Chicago or Milwaukee.
Yeah, I put like detail. I put like we built a website and I put like a whole detailed thing together of like, if you fly into O'Hare,
Yeah.
you just hop on the Van Gelder. And for people that don't know Van Gelder out there, it is the Greyhound.
Okay.
But
I didn't know that.
It's like another bus.
Okay. Yeah.
like-
So
yeah.
you go O'Hare and then take a bus. It's only from O'Hare. It's only like 3 hours. It's not bad.
Not even.
2.5, yeah.
And you're in traffic anyway.
Yeah,
There's
that's
a
true.
fuzz like going right by your face.
What is this hair? What is this? Okay. we're
There's something
back.
floating around. But yeah, it's just the planning. Like, I really just wish there was like a set it and forget it type of button.
Yeah.
Like, once I found a space and I was like, okay, and I haven't planned anything. And we're 4 months away and I've planned zero
What
things.
do you mean you've planned zero? What do you mean?
Like, I don't care about any of the stuff. Like
Like
I'm
the
not doing
napkins and-
flowers.
yeah.
I'm not doing napkins. We're doing like different buffets every hour.
Can you just have somebody do it? Can you hire a planner to just do it for you?
Yeah, but I talked to a planner, and here's the thing. You call these people, and
Yes.
everybody thinks you want to be a fucking princess.
I know.
And so I'd call a place, and they'd be like, oh, we're going to make your day so magical. And I was like, I don't want it to be magical.
You'd
I'm going to
hang
be
up.
wasted. I want it to just be a party. I want it to have couches and a dance floor and a party.
Right. I don't want magic.
And
I
everybody's
want
like, what
smut.
about glitter and flowers? I'm like, I don't want any of those things.
Yeah.
So once I found a spot, I just was like, we need good lighting
Yes.
so people can see each other's faces.
Yes.
And no flowers.
Yes. None. You don't.
They're so expensive, and then they die tomorrow.
I agree. I agree. So
it's just an interesting logistical thing that so many people spend so much money on for no reason.
So you're the tomboy. Is Justin now more the guy, the girl that? Not that I love Justin. Justin's our fiance. Super cool dude. He's a model. I'm not questioning his sexuality, obviously. What I'm saying is, has he taken on the traditionally female role of doing more planning? Is he planning?
No, I mean, neither of us are really
So y'all, we just gonna all get
literally,
there.
we're just gonna show up.
You should have done a church basement. Like, we're just here, guys. All right.
Well, this is the thing I'm most excited for. This is what we're putting the most planning into. The night before the wedding,
Yes.
we're doing a comedy roast of the bride and groom.
Oh God.
So we're pairing up everybody in the wedding party with comics,
Oh.
like yourself and Doug. And,
Yeah.
and like, if they need to email correspond and get some suggestions how to clean something up. But
Yes.
like, I want my dad to roast me. I want my best friends to roast me.
Oh.
They've known me for like 25
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So, so that's what we're doing. So that's going to be sloppy. And then, and it's going to be fun. And then the wedding the next day is just basically like, let's get the ceremony over with. Now it's party.
So how long have you been with Justin?
7 years.
Okay, so let's ask this question. I know that you love Justin. why are you getting married? Because that's what people do,
Kind of.
right? Like, if it was up to you, right, in the world where you're oyster, would you get married? Not. And the question is not would you be with Justin? I know you'd be with Justin.
Yeah.
Question is, would you do this? Would you go through all this?
Him and I have had this discussion over the last 4 months, and we were still trying to figure out if like this was what we wanted, even like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, there's so much pressure on this
I
stuff.
agree.
And I had never, ever seen a therapist in my life until I got engaged. And then I was like, maybe I should see somebody who understands, like, how crazy all this is.
Yeah, or do a whole bunch of podcasts.
Yeah, right? And so this lady was, like, telling me how a lot of people are afraid to move on into other acts of their life.
Right.
And I was like, okay, that might be true, but I kind of feel like I'm still 25.
Okay.
In a way.
Yeah. What do you mean by still 25? Tell me. You said in a way.
Not
what
25. Way? I mean, you know, the type of career that we have chosen is hard.
Amen.
And it's time consuming.
Yes.
And you have to even if you're a giving person, you have to have a lot of selfish qualities to succeed at it. I don't mean selfish like harming other people.
I'm with you.
But I mean like you have to know how much time you can commit to another human being.
Yes.
You have to know if you're ready for kids at that time. You know, like it's a whole thing.
Can I? I'm gonna just for a minute.
Yeah.
So this happened 2 weeks ago. Blah blah blah. I was talking about dealing with my ex, and a friend of a friend was like, "Hey, let's spend some time. I want to talk to you and another friend about, some ways that maybe we can help you out in court." And I don't want to go too far into it, but long story short, I made time and I met with the person, and it was like an hour. And then if I count the drive time, it was like 3 hours. And I left and I said, that was a waste of 3 hours. And this sounds rude, but it was such a good lesson from the universe. It was like, oh, Trenton, if you're going to move to the next level, even to your friends,
you gotta stop wasting time.
You have to stop. You have to be willing to say no.
Yes,
that is not worth my time.
That's a new thing that I've just acquired. Like I just turned 33. I'm never afraid to talk about my age. Who cares?
Yeah,
it's an age.
I agree. I
think age makes you way cooler.
I agree. 100%.
You're still alive, and
you're still alive.
You know more shit.
You made it, right?
So, I was just talking to another woman about this the other day. I was like, now I say no to things, like often.
Yes.
Even taped auditions that I get asked to do, that I look at the script and I'm like, I don't even like this.
Yeah.
I just don't even why waste your time with certain things?
Do you remember when we first started comedy and we would be happy to take any booking? I don't give
anything.
Whatever. So last week I'm in Phoenix and I'm doing a show. Getting ready to go to the show. Getting ready to do the show. I'm at the show and the guy says, hey. Are you comfortable doing the show in your underwear? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, the name of the show is Great Exposure, and everybody has to do it in their underwear. And I'm waiting on him to start laughing. And he doesn't. He doesn't start laughing. And I'm like, oh, you're serious. And he's like, well, Trent, that's like the thing of the show. It's like the gimmick of the show. And I was like, well, I just won't do the show. And he was like, are you serious? Yes, I've been doing comedy for 13 years now.
I don't need that.
I don't need that in my life. And I turned around and left. I called Jen, and I turned around and left. I was like, all right, I'm on my way home. I was like, you ain't going to believe what just happened. They asked me to get naked. So anyway, yes, being able to say no is important. Let's get back to the wedding.
It is important.
It's so important.
Now I'm more honest with my time. Like I used to tell people that I would help them with certain things, and now I will tell people like I don't have time to help, but I can steer you in the right direction.
Yes.
Or I can give you like an email with because I do like to help people.
Yes.
In harmful to myself ways often. Like I would put myself on the back burner to try and help other people.
Yeah.
But we all need that sometimes.
And speaking about this podcast being about fatherhood and parenthood, oftentimes we have to be selfish to be the best person we can be. And the best person we can be makes us a better father, better mother, or better spouse.
Yes.
If we're always helping and never taking care of ourselves, then even if you're helping, you're still giving that person 10%.
Well, you have to balance. I mean,
you have to balance.
It's such a balancing act. And over time, I get better and better at it. I'm pretty good at it now.
Yeah.
I feel pretty balanced most of the time. And when I'm not, I can definitely tell.
Yeah.
And then I get really drunk.
I'm better than I was.
Then I accidentally drink a bottle of wine.
I accidentally on purpose drink wine. I'm better than I was. But to your point, we get better every year, right?
Yeah.
Or every month or every day.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm with you because I wasn't great at balancing. Now I'm the busiest I've ever been. The number
Yep.
one purchase that I'm so proud of this year is I got a personal assistant. It helps
Ooh.
so much. If you haven't got a personal assistant, you should get one. It's like sex. It's so rewarding. It is so rewarding. I'm not joking. It is so it is
I
amazing.
I would love to do that. Like I joked about that like a year or two ago, getting an
Yeah,
intern.
you need to get an intern. I'm telling you, I'm so not joking. It is so liberating to say, "Hey, help me with this," and it get done.
Yeah.
And it get done.
No, I mean, and at some point, I have so many projects going right now that
Yes,
I'm going to need that.
Natasha,
for
you're the
sure.
busiest person I've met. And I'm busy. And I'm like, oh, Natasha's busy. Like, we text,
Oh.
Natasha and I are close. And we text 2 weeks out when we want to connect. Hey, what are
Yeah.
we, 2 or 3, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a big deal.
It's a thing.
All right, so back to this wedding now. So you went to a therapist.
Yeah,
and the
I just went to
therapist-
2 sessions with her,
Okay.
and it helped me really just talk my own stuff out for myself. I
Okay.
mean, that's kind of how it works, I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, just talking about the pressures of society to do things a certain way. And, the more open I've been on stage about how much I'm not enjoying engagement, it's not about the person that
It's
I'm
not
engaged
the person.
to.
Yeah, I know.
But there's just other factors that just keep showing up.
Yeah.
And the more I talk about it and I'm open about it with people, the more people come up to me afterwards and tell me that they either have gone through it, they're going through it, or they,
Really?
Yeah, it's a very common thing to have like this overlying fear of marriage. It's not even commitment. It's
Yeah.
like, why?
Right.
Why the pen and paper?
Right.
You know?
I'm 100%. So 2 things. One, and I'm so serious about this, you should write a book.
Yeah.
And I don't mean a 400-page novel. You should chronicle everything you're going through and make it a 75-page book and make it funny like you, but be very honest. And that, all right, edit this out because I'm fucked up. I don't know what I was just saying. But that can be your way to where the public knows who you are. Like, we've been pushing so hard with comedy, right?
Yeah.
But that's why we also do podcasts and why we also do stuff on Instagram, because you never know what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, it's something like a wedding, like, I'm so afraid of my engagement or something like that. It can be the thing that can stick.
I started to write something already.
Yes, good.
And I paired up with an online platform that I'm going to put.
Perfect.
Yes, I'll
Good
tell you
for
more
you.
about that off.
You don't have to tell it offline. You can tell it I mean, unless you don't want to
It's
share
not
it.
ready yet.
It's not ready. Rewind that. Don't look at it.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't say the name of it, so
Okay,
it's fine.
perfect.
But yeah, I started kind of keeping a diary
Good.
of what I've been going through and the different how my relationships started to change. I rebelled against getting married for a couple months. Like
Yeah.
in the month of December, I traveled to I stayed behind for Christmas, let my fiance go home.
Okay.
And traveled to visit everybody under the sun within 3 weeks.
Just to not go home?
Just to not go. Yeah, I mean, I did. One of my
get it.
guy friends was like, "Do you want to just fly up to San Francisco to hang with me and my family?" And I was like, "Yep." And I'm like flying everywhere, and people are like, who are you hanging out
what are you
with? Aren't you
doing?"
engaged? And I'm like, "Yeah, but whatever. I gotta
you
go
feel-
live my life."
You felt like you were self-sabotaging a little bit.
A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
I have a question. If we, all of us, kind of deal with this and feel like we self-sabotage because wedding adds anxiety, then why are we as a society getting married so much?
I don't know. It's almost like I have 2 different people that I am sometimes.
Okay.
I have the driven LA, like this is my life thing. And then I
Yes.
have the other half of me that's kind of wants to sail on a ship forever and just hop around on islands,
Okay.
And so I have to find a way to combine those people.
Yes. I
So-
was expecting, can I tell you what I was expecting LA driven and then Wisconsin traditionalists.
Nope.
And those 2 are hard, but not at
With-
all.
not with-
You're LA
Wisconsin
driven
is-
and just get the fuck off the globe and just
Yeah,
leave.
kind of.
Yeah.
Because I have so much fun when I'm traveling. I'm leaving. I'm going back to St. Croix next week.
St. Croix, she's doing a
pew.
a festival in St. Croix. Are you creating that up?
No. I did do a comedy tour in St. Croix before.
Okay.
I'm not doing one this time. I'm just going to hang.
Are you just what?
And I'm also going to podcast while I'm there. Because I want to interview a bunch of locals that
Really?
are just beach
How long are you
dudes.
staying?
A week.
That is so. When are you leaving?
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh.
Next Tuesday for 8 days. So, I mean, I do stuff like that all the time.
Yes.
Like, and I'll incorporate work into it. I don't mind working while traveling,
Yes.
but I am the type of person that is inspired by
Yes.
experiencing
Yeah.
new things and people.
Yeah, yeah. You
And
got to
that's
get out.
never going to leave my body.
Yeah.
So I have to like be aware of that and tell my fiance like, hey,
I got to go.
this is not going to change when we're married. Like I'm still going to just leave at random and go places.
How does he take that?
So well. Last Sunday, we were drunk with friends on a rooftop, and I pulled him aside before we left to go to another bar, and I was like, hey, I booked a trip to St. Croix. And he was like, oh, okay. And then we just left, and I was
Really?
like, thank God. He doesn't, he just
He
lets
gets it.
me do
But the
Natasha.
And that's 100% how you know that he's the right guy for you. I remember the first time we ever hung out, we were on a tour
Yeah.
from Portland to Seattle to Vancouver.
Yes.
And you had just started dating Justin. And so we're on this, 3-city tour, staying in hotel rooms.
Yep.
And I was like, if you were my girl, I would not let you stay in a hotel room with some random dude, you know. And he was cool. Not,
Totally.
He trusted you, which made sense, but still.
Yeah.
As a guy.
He's done that a lot of times. Like I travel and stay with guy friends often.
Yeah.
I had one of my best guy friends from high school lived in Vegas for a while,
Yeah.
and I was performing there, and him and I got a hotel together on this trip in Vegas for 6 days.
Yeah.
And Justin was like, okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, future wife, if you listening, don't try that shit with me, okay? I'm not Justin. That shit will not work. I am jealous. Anyway, go ahead. Justin's better than me. He's a better dude.
Well, I mean, it's just I've always operated that way. So it was at the beginning of our relationship. Well, we had been friends for 4 years before we started dating.
Oh.
So
So
we've
you've
known each other for
11
a long
years.
time.
Wow,
Yeah,
okay.
11 years. So yeah, we met in 2007.
Wow.
Early 2007. So it was already established that I had, kind of operated half women friends, half guy friends.
Yeah, yeah.
And I travel with both equally. I do the same thing with girls too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's 50-50 really.
So I know Bridesmaids, the name implies women.
Yeah.
Or do you have men?
I
in your
don't
wedding?
have any men.
Okay.
And I thought about it, but what I am doing. So I already had a bachelorette party in September.
Okay.
Because 2 of my girlfriends were planning to have kids. They're both pregnant now.
Oh.
So
Are they going to be pregnant at your wedding?
yeah. Well, my maid of honor is due the week before my wedding.
Oh, let's pray she has it.
Yeah. Otherwise, we told her we were going to have her Skype in on an iPad and stick the iPad to a vacuum or something and hang the dress from it. Because I was like, how ridiculous would that be? It'd be so funny to just have a stick up there with her face on it from the bed.
Oh my God! Is she in? She's in Madison.
She's in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so we had a bachelorette party, and it was all my best girlfriends from here and from back home in Wisconsin, and everybody just got along so well. It was so fun.
Good.
I just have undramatic girlfriends.
Good.
So it was just
Good.
amazing. We lost all of our clothes.
That's some women shit. Dudes would never say, me and all my boys hung out and we all got naked. They'd be like, that was some gay shit y'all
Well,
did.
what's so fun is none of us are club girls. It was in
Okay.
Vegas. We're not club girls. We're not high heeled and club dress girls. We were
Right.
all in jeans and
Yeah,
shirt,
yeah.
shit that you can move in.
You were Milwaukee.
Yeah.
You were Wisconsin.
Well, Wisconsin at heart, but with style. All right.
Yeah.
Let's not get that wrong. We're not fucking Lee jeans and
you
stuff.
were Wisconsin chic.
Yeah. We're Wisconsinites at heart, but
Right.
we all have adulted and moved coastal. -2. So it was fun. It was a cool, but everywhere we went, a shoe would just disappear. It was just the funniest. I had never laughed so hard. So that's already done.
Okay.
So I was going to do part 2 and have my guy friends take me somewhere.
Wow. Are they going to do it?
Yes, we're in talks.
Okay. So it's in the works too. Pew, pew, pew. I can't turn that on because I
Yeah,
turned my
yeah.
sound off. I'm sorry, guys.
So yeah, I think that's a fun
So does Justin get a bachelor party? Has he already done one?
I hope he's figuring it out. He's got his 2 brothers are cohabitating
Okay.
his like groom,
Oh,
his
they're doing-
groom of honor, or what do you call that?
Wait a
Best
minute.
man.
His best man.
He's
Wait a
got
minute.
two
His
best
two
men.
brothers are his best men.
Yeah, he's got
Okay.
two best men.
Got you.
So, yeah, I would hope that they're talking about it.
Okay.
His brothers are like, if it were me, I'd be like, yeah, go to go to the strip club or something. But his brothers won't ever do that. They play video games.
They don't.
So like it'll have to be like Avatar strippers.
Put on this big virtual reality and get a lap dance. It's not the same. Okay, so what do you think will change after you get married?
I hope zero things.
Okay.
Like I feel like at this point, when you know somebody for 11 years, you're
Yeah.
together for 7. We've already been through some stuff, especially during the engagement. There's been some rough moments,
Right.
and I'll never be shy about that because we're honest people. We're
Right.
comics, and
we're human.
we're human.
Yes.
I think we work in entertainment. I think no matter what and how much you love somebody, every number of years you might run across somebody that you're really intrigued by,
Yeah.
and you have to navigate a whole new friendship or situation that you weren't
Prepared.
expecting.
I agree.
And these things are going to come up.
Not believe in it, because believe in it assumes it doesn't exist. So I'm not saying do you believe in it. What are your thoughts on monogamy?
Yeah, we've talked about this
I know we
before.
have. I know we
That's
have.
one of the series I'm writing right now.
Is it really?
Yeah, I'm pitching a couple series right now, but I'm writing a new one,
Oh.
and it's based on my experiences in this.
If you sell that, please let me be in it.
I would love to have you read what I've got so
Oh,
far.
I'm passionately. Well, go ahead. I
yeah.
want to go ahead.
It's a tough thing. This is something me and Justin, my fiance, talked about before we even started dating.
Right.
When we were just bros and we used to hang out. We were like friends with benefits for years.
Right.
So we were just hanging out smoking pot one night. This was like back when we were, 22, 23.
Yeah.
And we had a whole conversation about it. I think things change when you get into a relationship because you put like those restrictions on
The
things.
expectations. We say, okay, now
Yeah.
you can't see anybody else.
I think allowing yourself to explore options later in life is definitely something you should be open to.
I would agree.
Because things change over time and things get less exciting over time, no matter how much you care about people.
I agree.
And you can't be unwilling to consider the possibilities.
I agree with everything that you just said, and I love the way that you put it.
Yeah.
Have you read the book Sex at Dawn?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's so good. It's a book about this very thing. And it talks about, I'm not going to get into it because I'm going to do a full podcast about the book sometime in the future. But it gives the premise, it offers the premise that it wasn't until we made buying land and buying property, we added value to that or assigned value to that, that after that came monogamy. Because as a result, what happened was, so let me see if I can break this down in a really crude way.
Yeah.
When land and property and everything was just for everybody, right? Nobody owned this property, nobody owned this property, but we all lived on this portion of land, and we all were in a community, and it didn't matter. At that point, it didn't matter who your descendants, because everything was passed down to the community. So it
Right.
didn't matter. But the moment I own land, now it's important that I know who my child is so that I can give he or she my land. Does that make sense?
Heirs.
Heirs. That's exactly
Yeah.
right. And so they were saying that the authors, because it's a husband and wife, the authors submitted the hypothesis that that society at large has been polygamous a lot longer than we've been monogamous. Even though
Yeah.
monogamy is the type or the I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but it's the thing of the day. It's not necessarily has been the case for the length of time or for all mankind. That's not the case.
Right.
Polygamy has more so been the case
Yeah.
much longer. And so it just makes you question, because to your point, after about XYZ years, I won't put that number, you do get bored. And then what
Yes.
happens is, and I don't know, it's so much I could talk about.
Well,
but
and then you put these, you have, what is the word I'm looking for? There's a word where you're just harboring anger towards
Yes,
somebody.
resentment.
Resentment, thank
Yes.
you. It was on the tip of my tongue. I
Yes.
was like, ruh, 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 ruh.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you resent somebody because of certain things, like like 95% of what me and my fiance need, we give each other.
Yes.
I don't even know. That might be a generous number.
Right.
He might give me 95. I probably give him like 80. If I'm being honest, like I suck way more.
Yeah.
But I make up for it wherever I can.
Right.
You know, I'm just definitely a lot more strong-willed of a person as
Right.
far as like I want to do this and
Right.
that's what I'm gonna do.
That's what we're gonna do. Period. Yeah.
And I try to be considerate, but like here and there, I'm just not. And you know, over 7 years, you give less fucks,
Right.
and then you're just like, I'm just gonna do this. So you do you,
Right.
you know.
So either roll or don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
no, I'm with you.
I think you know, I think it's impossible for one person to give everything
I could
that
not
a
agree
person
more.
needs. Because I have very specific things that make me feel really happy.
Right.
And, you know, sometimes you meet a person, you know, you have certain friends that fill those roles.
Right.
Sometimes you meet another person that fills one role, and then you have your friends from your past that fill those other roles.
Yes.
And you have to let that be okay.
I agree,
Like-
100%. I think I could not agree more. I think, have you ever seen anyone, and I'm being honest, and this is coming from, my parents been married 49 years. Have you ever seen anyone, a couple, that has done monogamous successfully?
I don't know what you mean by success.
Right, so
and my friend Jessa Reed, if can I plug another
Of
podcast?
course you can.
My Jessa Reed is a friend and another comic, and she is on a podcast called The Mormon and the Meth Head. She's a former meth head, and he's a former Mormon.
Oh, wow.
And
Is
I
she
was
the
just,
one that I just saw on Comedy Central,
yeah,
the stories?
yeah.
Okay.
And I was just with her and the other guy in South by Southwest, and we've spent a lot of time together. We're producers on the Big Sky Comedy Festival and all this other jazz, and I really respect her as a human being, and she has a really good quote that she said to me, and she said on her podcast that was, something is not a success because it's long-term or a failure because it's not.
I agree.
And I was like, whoa.
Right. I agree.
Is that ever so true?
I couldn't agree more.
It was so well said. It's
I
so
couldn't
simply
agree more.
put.
Yes.
And I think what we deem success is not always successful. Like for me,
Right.
success, like inside of my body, if I feel good just about life,
Right.
that is my most successful moment.
Okay, so can I say this to you?
Yes.
So I have a friend that I won't mention her name because it's not fair for me to say stuff that private conversations in public.
Sure.
But she said to me, she went to see a therapist or whatever, and she's very she's a sexual person and blah blah blah. And so she says to me, or she said that her therapist said to her, maybe you aren't meant for a 40-year relationship.
Yeah.
She said maybe you're meant for 7 really good 5-year relationships.
Yes.
Right? Isn't that so much better? I mean, listen,
I've
if
had
you're in a
that
20-year relationship, great. But isn't that so much better?
I have a guy friend who is amazing, and we were having that conversation.
Okay.
Like maybe it's meant to just be wonderful for a
Right.
chunk of time.
Yes, not forever.
Not forever.
Yes.
And there was an episode of Black Mirror like that.
Okay.
That do you watch Black
I
Mirror?
don't. It's
Oh my
so
God.
much good TV. You can't
So-
watch everything. I know.
Well, and each episode is its own standalone thing, so it's cool because
Oh.
you can actually just watch it and just
Okay.
enjoy the
I
one
didn't
episode.
know that, so now I have to look
Yeah,
for that
they're
episode.
not. There are no recurring characters. I mean,
Okay.
there's one song that recurs. If you watch Black Mirror, you'll know what I'm talking
Okay.
about. But there was this one episode where it's this it's like basically a futuristic dating app, like a Tinder, but it matches you up with somebody and it tells you exactly how long you'll be with them. 16 hours, 3 months, whatever. It tells you up front.
Really?
And
Wow.
and when it's done, they make you separate.
Yes.
And so you might be with somebody that you dislike, and then it says that you're with them for a year, and you're
Ugh.
like counting down the time, and
Yeah.
then it finally ends. And so there's something that resonated with me about that episode because
Yeah.
it was like, you know, sometimes experiences are fun on a vacation, and then they're
Yes.
done. I learned that lesson the hard way with
Me
my
too.
ex. My ex
Well,
was
go
that
ahead. Yes. You got to tell that
I
story.
dated a homeless guy I met on the Virgin Islands
Yes.
before I dated my current person. I didn't. He was like he had a beach.
Right.
He just didn't have a house.
He lived on the beach. Didn't you meet him in the Bahamas?
I met him in the Virgin Islands,
the
where
Virgin
I'm
Islands.
going next week. I have gone back and conquered that place and made it my bitch. No, I'm just kidding. Because But yeah, and you know, you meet somebody, and during that week, that it's like so
amazing.
fun,
Yes.
and then reality hits, and they move in with you, and
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, what is?
What are we thinking?
What was that? So, you know, some things are meant to be temporary.
I agree.
Not, you know, and sometimes somebody makes a good, you know, partner, but
Yeah.
doesn't fulfill other things. So I just am open to ideas. There's a really amazing movie that you've got to watch.
Okay, what's it called?
It's called Professor Marsden and the Wonder Women.
Okay.
Marsden? I think it's Marsden.
Okay.
It's about the story of how Wonder Woman was created.
Really?
A man and wife professor at this university, like I forget which university, but one of the top universities. It's a true story.
Yeah.
They were professors of like love and relationships, and they
Okay.
invented the lie detector test, and they both fall in love with another student, a woman.
Oh.
And they have a 3-year relationship, or no, a 3-person relationship for like 12 years.
Really?
Yeah, and then
What is it on Netflix?
no, I don't even know where you find it. No,
Yeah.
I watched it on my last flight.
Okay.
Per recommendation of somebody. It
Yeah.
came out, I think, around the time as Wonder Woman, because and it's a beautiful story.
Really?
It is beautiful, and it's directed by a woman, so the shots are super classy.
Yeah.
And, like, the love scenes are like just gorgeous.
Oh, now I gotta watch it. We gotta hashtag
It's an
that.
amazing story.
So I gotta tell you a story that is nowhere near as amazing as that one.
Perfect.
So
I'm ready.
It's my story about how I learned the lesson that sometimes you have to let things just be what they are. If it's vacation, just let it be. Don't take it back to real life.
Yeah.
But I met a chick. I won't go through all the details, but I met a girl in Miami, and blah blah blah.
I remember this story.
Did I tell you
No,
that
but you have to
story?
tell it. You have to tell it for the people.
God! And so I met her, and it was phenomenal. Like we just clicked, and alcohol was involved, right? We just clicked, and I will never forget because it was the only time I felt like I was in a movie. I was at a club, and she came to meet me later. And by the way, when you say somebody, hey, I'm gonna be at, Club Bed at midnight. In Miami, you don't expect the person to come. They're not going to remember every alcohol. They're going to meet somebody cuter and bigger and whatever. It's not going to work. And I remember I was like, dude, I'm leaving. I was telling my boy I'm leaving. And she walks in. And it was like the music stopped. She walked in and she just went straight to me and we just started kissing. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And so we hung out for like maybe 30 minutes. And I told my boy, I was like, yo, I'm getting out of here with this chick. And so we went back, had sex, blah, 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 several times. And it should have been it. And had that have been it, it would have been a great fucking story.
Yeah.
But my dumb ass was like, no, let's hang out more in real life. Let's go. I'll come to Houston and you come to Chicago. And it ended up being so bad. We did a New Year's together. It ended up being so bad. When we left New Year's, I had a layover. We didn't even hug. We was like, all right. Like we knew. Neither one of us broke up. We just went to our separate gates.
Yeah. It's done.
It was done. But it's to your point, it's like sometimes, and I think that society, we think it has to be long term, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
I think we should be okay with saying, and I have this new joke that I'm writing, and I hate plugging jokes, but I say I don't get angry at breakups. I look at breakups like graduation.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I have taken this class. I've learned everything I'm supposed to learn. I am fucking done. Nobody's mad at geometry.
Right.
Nobody's like, fuck geometry.
Like, I don't think about it still, and I'm like,
Right.
damn it, geometry sucked.
Right.
Like,
Nobody.
no, it happened.
It
It's done.
happened. You learned it, and you're done.
Well,
and so anyway,
That's what I always say about my ex too, because when people are like, "Oh, that happened to you," I'm like, "Yeah." Now when I talk about it, it's like this old story
Right.
from like somebody else's book. It doesn't
Right.
even feel. It's like, so yeah, then this happened and this happened, and then you turn the page and it gets really good.
Right.
But it's like reading something from your past is so it doesn't feel the same anymore.
It doesn't. And what I realized when I look back, Natasha, I realized the number one mistake that I've made over and over is I've made relationships go too long.
Mhm.
Like I should have broke up with my ex in 2015, not 2017, which is why 2017 now is fucking. It's a good year, but dealing with her is hard.
Yeah.
But I should have done it in 15.
I remember when we had that conversation a while
Yeah.
ago. And and that's the thing. I mean, that's why I just say, like, no matter what your religion or whatever is, like, I think people are like, "Oh, you can't do that," and blah blah blah. Just be a human.
Just,
Like, be okay with being human.
I agree.
I've definitely had some things happen in the last couple months where I was like, God, I'm definitely human.
I'm human.
I'm
So
definitely.
I have to ask this question. We got some time. We still got time left.
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
ask this question. Do you or Justin want kids?
That's another thing we've been talking
I
about.
know. That's such a.
It's a
Because every
hard.
time you get married, everybody always asks immediately, so when are you going to have kids? So when are you
Yep,
going to have kids?
yep, they
And you're a
do.
woman, and so it's even harder for you, I know.
Well, and people put that age restriction on you. You know, it's interesting because you're in Hollywood, number one. So
Yes.
they're like, oh, are you gonna have like a kid like right away? Because
Yes.
that's just gonna ruin your career.
Yeah.
And I don't feel ready for kids yet.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere close to that.
I don't know that anybody is ready for kids,
Right.
to be honest. with you.
Timing would have to be a thing. Like, I just don't really know what the future holds. I don't like to think about it too hard. Like,
Okay.
I like to think about goals I want to hit. But like to tell somebody that you're going to create a person at a specific date in the future, that's
know.
ridiculous. Like, it has to either accidentally happen and you're like, well, this is what I'm doing now.
Well,
or
I'm too old to get an abortion.
or you have to have a day where you're like, things are pretty great. Maybe timing's right. You know,
Yes.
like, it has to, you know, it's kind of one or the other. Like,
Yeah.
it just happens. It just happens.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I remember being 28 years old and going to my like yearly gyno, and she was like, you should start freezing your eggs. And I was like, what? I'm only 28.
Right.
Well, that was 5 years ago, and I haven't freezed any
I
eggs.
haven't frozen anything.
You know, I'm like, so if these puppies are still kicking, I don't even know. I don't, you know, I haven't had the luxury of accidentally getting pregnant in the last 5 years. So, I mean, like, they might not even work.
Yeah,
So
but
I
that's-
might make all these future plans in
And
my
then not
brain,
even-
and
yeah.
then my body is like, nope.
You're 8 years
you
late
don't-
on that one.
Your eggs done dried up. So I mean, like, who knows? You know?
I had somebody ask me, or someone, we were talking about it, and so I'm 40,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, yeah, I'd have another kid. And they were like, that is so fucking selfish. They were like, you should not have any more kids. You're done. You're 40. So what are you going to do? You're going to have a kid at 45, and then you're going to die?
My uncle just had one at 55.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's got to be almost 55.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, look, hopefully if I'm doing well, if I die and the kid is 35, that's 35 years he or she got with me.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that's fucking selfish.
Well, you know, I mean, it's like I always knew my grandma had my mom and her brother when she was pretty young. I think she was like 21.
Yeah, but it's a different generation.
And my mom had me when she was 20.
Yes.
And I knew when I was 18 that kids weren't going to be in my near future.
Right.
And so it's either you're a young mom or you're an old mom. It's
Right.
just kind of the way it
It's
is.
look,
Because in between is when your life is the best.
and
And so
30
it's
to
like,
50 is your prime.
it's like you're either going to live your best life, get them out of the house, and then be like, now what?
Right.
Now am I going to go to the Caribbean with my wrinkly body?
Right.
Like, I want to do that now.
Right.
And then I'll have my kids when I have no hope left.
When you're in a wheelchair anyway.
And I need somebody else to take care of me. I'm going to adopt a 16-year-old. Somebody who's already potty trained
Yes.
and ready,
Oh,
you know?
make him black. and adopt a black kid.
Of
we need
course. There's no,
Oh, God.
there aren't cute white kids. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
There are. They need to be mixed. It helps if they're mixed. I'm
Every
just saying.
time I don't look at Instagram and like try to find people to make fun. Well, that's a lie. I do that, but I really look for like funny babies.
You do.
Yeah, and they're always white babies, always.
Yes, I
Because
know.
cure ones are black and Asian,
They
and
are.
like mixed babies.
Mix them, Latino. They're mixed.
But
You-
they're like rarely is there a white baby where I'm like, you're ready to be seen.
I buy different frames at Target or wherever to put in my house, and I'll keep the white people in it, and I'll put it in my house just so people are like, what is that? I'm like, those are my white friends that I just keep around my house. I just think it adds an aura, and plus if the cops come in, you know, it makes me seem safer.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we talked about monogamy, but I don't feel like we've really exhausted that. I want to go back to that real quick.
Yeah.
What is Justin's feelings on monogamy?
Well, I mean, we've had kind of mild discussions about it, but like, you know, at this point, we don't have a reason to like steer away from that right now. We're just
Right.
focusing on like getting married and like being mentally okay with that.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I mean, both of us are really realistic people.
That's good.
And I think if something were to come up, like we've already had some things pop up and I had to talk to him about stuff and
Yeah.
be like, hey, you know, this, there's just things you just.
So I have a question for you as a female. How do I say to a push? Because I'm gonna date eventually again, right? And so how do you say to a woman, hey, listen, I really like you as a human, but I don't know that I'll like you 7 years from now.
Right.
Not that I
don't
won't
know.
like you. Not that I won't like you.
Yeah.
But in my experience, when women hear that I'm not a huge fan of monogamy, in my experience, what they hear is I'm not enough.
Right. Yeah, women have a different mentality about it.
Okay.
And I get it too because women like to feel like they're the special one. It's just really true. And and like I'm definitely a product of like having my cake and eat it too.
Okay.
Like not like that. Like
Okay.
I'm not out doing crazy stuff, but like I am in a good relationship and then I like to just be able to be out and do whatever I want. Not I come home at night, but I'm just like
you're not out fucking everybody. You just like to have fun.
I just like to be able to have fun and hang out with the people I want to hang out with.
Yes.
And I understand, being monogamy doesn't mean like if you're not monogamous, it doesn't mean that you can bang whoever you want. But you're if you're allowed to feel feelings for somebody because you just do, and you don't have to feel guilty for that, that's a good thing.
I love the way you put. I think you should repeat that. I'm serious. So Natasha just said, not being monogamous does not mean you're out there fucking everybody. She said what it means is it allows you to have feelings for someone else and not feel regret or shame. I love that.
Yeah, you don't have to feel guilty.
True.
Like
yes.
people can come into your life. I have a very close friend that I met a couple months ago, and him and I just instantly became very close.
Right.
And it definitely made me realize that like sometimes you can have a guy, but you can have this and you can meet another person and have them be like this other entity in your life that feels just like, oh, I was supposed to meet you.
Right.
That's really great. And you should not have to feel guilty about those things. Like you should be okay with like having life happen like that.
I love that.
People are supposed to come into your life for a reason. And if they're excellent, you shouldn't have to not have them there.
I love that. And not only that, but people and experiences. And so you almost, because of a fear of hurting someone else, you almost limit your experiences.
Yeah.
And if you're limiting your experiences, what you're saying is you're limiting learning.
Yes.
You're limiting growth.
And you're limiting something within you.
Yeah.
Like your gut doesn't lie.
Right.
So if you're feeling something about somebody else, whether it's a friend that you need to get rid of or a friend that you are like, how did we not meet 10 years ago? Those are two different ends of the spectrum, but both are things that people are afraid to tackle,
right? And
you shouldn't be,
right?
Because it's okay to let something be something that was, and it's okay to let something be something that needs to be.
Natasha's dropping jewels. She said your gut does not lie. She is dropping jewels, man. I love that. That's another one, man. You should write that down. Your gut.
Well, I'll have to rewatch this. I have no idea what I just said. But
that was amazing. I love that saying.
But your gut, I mean, it's just, you have to explore an instinct.
Yes.
And so if something comes up that you just feel like, oh, this is something I can't ignore. This friendship is so strong, such a strong bond very quickly.
Yeah.
I can't pretend that that's not a thing.
Yeah.
And nobody should have to do that. That's like imprisoning yourself.
I agree. All right, so I gotta jump onto this topic before we close up. What are some of the things you've been chasing your dream for? What, a decade now? Is it fair to say?
Yeah, over, but
right.
Yeah.
And we both chasing our dream, and I think we've both talked about success for us. It's not necessarily fame. It's just we want to be able to live comfortably doing exactly what we want to do.
Right.
So that's writing, acting, performing, and whatever. All that in whatever.
Creative. Yes.
I want to be able to do that versus anything else. All right. I want to be able to do that for 40 hours a week versus do something else for 40 hours. So what type of sacrifices have you had to make, whether it's in relationships, and when I say relationships, boyfriend or mother or sister or whatever, for me it's exes and also now daughter. What kind of sacrifices have you had to make on this road to chasing your dream, and would you have it any other way?
Of course I had to sacrifice my ex. It was a terrible relationship, but I think the hardest thing for me, because I am from the Midwest and I really I really take a lot of importance or put a lot of importance into my friendships.
Yes.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a person you choose to have in your life.
I agree.
So when you choose to have somebody, like, I've been so blessed. All of my friends that I've been closest to since I was young, we all grew well together.
Yeah.
We just did a good job.
Yeah.
And we've been friends for like 25 years. And, whenever I bring somebody new into my world, I really put some, it's like I'm betting on them. And I've had to like cut 3 friends out of my life in the last like 6 or 7 years. And that has been very hard.
Yeah, yeah.
But they either did something that I just didn't feel was right.
Okay.
Or they just weren't a good influence.
Okay.
Or they were negative.
Yeah, that's negative is
really rubs off on you.
Oh God, especially in our world where again, and I don't mean to, we hear no 100 times a day.
Yeah.
And so we can't be around negative. It is just toxic.
I mean,
it's toxic.
We all have our moments. I'm not going to act like I'm some sort of like fairy princess over here. Like,
Oprah.
I'm so happy all the time.
Right.
But I'm pretty positive most of the time.
Yes, yeah,
and I try
agree.
to look at things from a good perspective and understand other people's perspectives.
Right.
And so I'm a pretty damn good friend.
Yeah.
And so, like, I know if somebody isn't making me happy, that it's probably for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's not my fault at all.
Right,
because
right.
there's no way that's possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there's always two
it goes,
stories.
There's always.
But
yeah.
it just doesn't gel. You have to let it fly away, you know, and that's okay sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was hard. Like, those were hard moments. But in order to not let yourself be distracted or to not let yourself have something that's overwhelming you that you can't control,
Right.
and you have all these other things you're trying to focus on, you have to like be willing to let people go sometimes.
Yeah.
And be okay with that loss.
I would agree. I'm still learning that. That's the lesson that the universe continuously reminds me is to be able to let people go. And I'm a Leo too, and so I care too much what people think. Too much. I pray sometimes, like, can you just help me not give a fuck?
Yeah, which is so funny because you don't even need, like, you're the type, you're just like you just got this Trenton swagger about you where it doesn't feel like you care.
I know, but I do. Yeah. It's because I'm actively working to not care, but I do. It's I don't know, whatever. I'll get there. At some point, I'll get to the point where I don't care. And it's not about being rude. It's just the freedom to be who you are.
Yeah.
Right? People, when you hear that, it sounds like you're being, no, I just want to be free to be who I am and not care.
Yeah.
Random, I'm flipping subjects. So my mom asked me, was it Saturday night? Maybe, I don't know. And she said, are you going to get married again? It had to be, yes. It was Sunday. It had to be. I don't know when it was, but whatever. And I was like, why would you ask me that? Like,
right?
I didn't know how to answer. I don't know.
Why does it matter? You know?
Why does it matter?
Why does it matter?
That's a great question.
What if you don't have kids? What if you don't get married?
And I already got a kid. I already got a daughter who's the best in the world, and I love her. So I'm like, I don't have to. I really don't.
Yeah.
If I make it, and again, making it to me is just making enough money to live comfortable. If I make it, let's say I'm doing $500,000 a year, it's very possible I will not get married. Now, that does not mean I won't be in long-term relationships.
Right.
It does not mean that. I think I would probably venture into a long-term relationship. And when I say long-term, 7 years. And then you trade them in.
Yeah. It's like a lease.
It's like a lease. I would lease. I wouldn't do a long-term relationship.
It's like a flipping a house, you know? You got to put that equity in.
Yes. I don't want to own it. It's too much work. I don't want to have to fix the air conditioner.
Anymore.
Fix the furnace. I just want to rent and lease it.
Well, and then here's the funniest thing about the whole kid situation. Like, I have people say to me, you know, because me and like 2 of my other close girlfriends who are really really just like hard ass, like, we're just going to do life and we're going to do it like all the way.
Right.
We're the ones that are wishy-washy about kids.
Yes.
And people are like, oh, well, you're the people that should be having kids. I'm like, are we?
Yeah.
Like, you know, what kind of people think that a legacy is based on your offspring?
Oh,
and it's just not. Like, and what really is a legacy? Like,
Right.
how many people do leave legacies? Like, how many comics are really leaving legacies?
Yeah.
You know, it's really few.
Bill Cosby.
Bad ones and good
right,
ones.
but in reality, he's probably would you argue he is probably left the biggest legacy? Minus the sex.
Right.
I mean, the rape. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call it sex.
Yeah,
the rape.
but yeah, I mean, he is I remember watching him when I was a kid. He was one of the people that inspired me to get into comedy.
Right.
You know, and then I just think of it like, okay, 1,000 years from now, like nobody's gonna give a fuck that I even lived. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just trying to be realistic and be like, let's not put pressure on an offspring, okay? Like, what are they really going to do? You think they're going to just tell everybody, like, oh, the longest game of telephone ever, make sure nobody ever forgets Natasha's name? Like, no. Nobody's, you know, eventually I'll just be like a name maybe printed somewhere in a book or like floating around on the internet somewhere.
It'll be on the internet.
Yeah,
it won't matter.
Doesn't really matter. So, like, you know, just kind of do you. We've got a limited amount of time here. So.
I love that. It's so much pressure relieved. I love that.
Yeah.
So we were talking before we started the podcast, and then we got to talk about this. So I made the hypothesis. I submitted that a lot of people are having kids out of fear of doing something else. That makes sense? Because,
yes,
right? They
did talk about that.
A fear of being told no, a fear of rejection. And they know kids won't reject you.
Yep.
I really believe that. And I know it sounds cynical, but I really believe there is a high percentage, and I'm going to say it and maybe get backlash, maybe not, a high percentage of stay-at-home mothers. And there was a percentage that really wanted to be a stay-at-home mother, but there's another percentage that wanted to do something great, act or sing or start their own business. And they were faced with being told no, and because we all are, because you need to be told no to strengthen whatever it is you're going to be great at. But they were faced with being told no. They couldn't take it, so they had kids, and they're like, oh, I'm going to just be the best mother in the world.
Yeah, I know a number of people, and they're wonderful friends.
Right.
But I know a number of people who have done that.
Yes. And I don't believe that is actually good. I think the number one thing I can do for my child, outside of food and water and shelter and safety, outside of those basic needs, the number one thing I can do is show them that chasing a dream is real.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we say, and I know I heard my parents, I heard it so many times, you can be anything you want. But I really believe this. You hear I can be anything I want, but then you see someone not doing what they want.
Right.
So you don't believe it.
Yeah.
Right? But you can believe that Puffy's kids or blah, blah, blah's kids really believe, oh, I can do whatever I want. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then they do, and then they also have Puffy as their dad.
Right,
so it doesn't hurt their chances.
It doesn't hurt their. But that's how, right? Would you argue that a 45-year-old Natasha who's super successful arguably would be a better mother than 23-year-old Natasha who gave up on her dream?
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Oh,
That's
my
what I'm
God.
saying. Yeah.
I would hope. I mean, there was part of me, you know, even at this point in my life where I was like, oh, God, you know, I kind of live I kind of live like a very honest out there life. Like
Right.
I feel like that's more empowering than a lot of people that try to make their life look perfect.
Yes.
And I wasn't ever really sure what kind of role model that looked like because I was like, well, maybe kids see this and they're like, oh, why this? But I've had a lot of positive feedback lately from people on social media that they think I'm a really cool role model.
I would say so. I think so.
And I was like, okay, great, then I'm doing it right.
I think you are. I brought this up when Dave Chappelle did 2 or 3 specials on Netflix last year. And people were complaining that it wasn't the normal Dave Chappelle type set that we're used to. It was so good, right?
It was so good.
And I reminded people, I said, what Netflix is giving us is a peek into the creative process, which is not perfect, which is, and comedy itself is not, it's ugly. It's right, we're stumbling over jokes for over a year until all of a sudden we find the perfect wording and then it becomes great.
Right.
Right? And so people, they want tons of content, but they also want it to be perfect, and that's not real life.
It's not.
It's not real life. And so what you're doing is phenomenal because it's showing kids you don't have to be perfect to be great.
Yeah.
That's
There's
a
a
big
little
deal.
bit of you that's always going to be messy.
Yes.
And you should
And we
enjoy
should,
that.
The mess. We should enjoy. That's a perfect way to end it, man. We should enjoy the mess. That is phenomenal.
Enjoy it.
Natasha, do me a favor. Do you have any shows coming up? Do you have anything you want to put PR or pub? Obviously, we got the wedding in July.
Yeah.
Pew, pew, pew.
Show up to that. You're welcome. I always just post all my shows on social media.
Okay.
So as everything comes up, I'm taking a break this week before the Caribbean and just writing.
Nice.
And I'm going to be writing in the Caribbean and podcasting. And then I have a bunch of shows coming up after that, New York and all that stuff. So
nice.
yeah. So just NPH Comedy on Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat if that's your thing.
If you still do that, and you're
and
over
I
10.
always let people know. And yeah.
All right, so good people, thank you for listening in. I'm at Trenton Comedy on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you follow Comedy Pop-Up. Just so you know, this weekend I am at the Pachanga Casino in Temecula. I'm at Pachanga Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm also, what am I doing? April 13th and 14th, I'm at the Parlor in Seattle, Bellevue.
The
Yes,
Parlor in
I'm at
Seattle.
Look, and this is.
I want to get up there.
Well,
I
I'm
have so many
checking my
friends
ego
in Seattle.
because I, quote unquote, I headline now, and they were like, "We'll feature you," and I was like, "Yep, I'll take a feature date."
Yeah.
And so that'll be fun. And where else? I'm gonna do 13th, 14th at the Parlor live in Bellevue, and then the 27th, 28th, and 29th, 27th and 28th, I'm at the Greensboro Comedy Zone, Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm from Greensboro, so y'all please come out and check it out.
Support him, North
Yes,
Carolina.
I want to sell that piece out. I would love to sell out my hometown, so make it happen. Thank you, Natasha. I love you. I love you. Were dropping jewels today. I'm telling you, you are so wise, man. We joke, but you're good. Make sure you follow Natasha. I appreciate it. Love you guys. See you next week.